point.
Okay, sure.
With us. Can I say that?
Oh, yes.
On and on. I'm going to make it quick. Okay. But anyway, in 1959, Arlington, we lived in Arlington. Arlington was growing. It seemed like a lot of people at that time, 30,000 people. And we had made voyages up in this part of the world, so to speak. And if you notice on Brown Trail, there's a couple of modern houses that before you hit Highway 10, and I was enamored with those houses and what have you, so I came here to look for a house because you got a house for about half the price and twice as much space in Arlington. So it became economically driven as far as that was concerned. And in fact we did. So we got a house built by Barfield and Smith, who were builders in this area. Very successful, I might add. And they built a house for us on Patricia Drive. And it had 1,750 square feet. In Arlington, we had 1,020. I mean, this was Bunyana, right? But anyway, as time went on, I used to drive. I worked at LTV at the time. Chance Ford, if you will, back then. And I was coming up Pipeline. And so this was in December of 1961. And I noticed the shack that was at the corner of Driftwood and Pipeline, Paul Huffline's shack. And I was intrigued because I could see houses, and for some reason or other, I hadn't paid attention to that until this point in time. So I couldn't wait to come. When I came back home that evening, I decided I'd leave early. Sure enough, Paul Huffline's was in the shack. So I said, Mr. Huffline's, exactly what's going on here? And he looked at me and said, do I have to tell you? I'm building houses here. He says, I'm also the developer. Well, I said, can you show me some lots? He said, sure. You want to go right now? I said, let's go right now. So he took me up Pebble Creek. I saw this lot. I saw the creek in the back. I liked the setting of it. I liked all these trees, which you talk about. And I could see this development coming into shape in my mind. So he said, if you'll take one of my houses, it's $9 a square foot. I said, for everything? Yes. I had colleagues that were buying houses in Dallas, and they were paying about $15 and $16 a square foot. And this seemed like this was the best bargain that came down the pike. So I said, I'll take one of your houses. He whipped out a contract. He said, will you sign a contract? I said, sure. He said, can you give me some money? I said, yes, sir, I can give you some money. How much can you give me? I said, I can give you $35. And I can't give it to you now. I have to give it to you by the end of the week, maybe. Because my station in life was that I was trying to get ahead in the world, but we didn't have any excess capital. There wasn't any question about it. So anyway, at the end of the week, I gave him a check for $35. And Paul Huffines took my plans, which I gave him. He said, I'll build a house the way you want it. And he took off building the house for $35. Now, if you say that to somebody today, it's unbelievable, right? So over time...
Well, real quick, was the plans that you gave him was a house that you had...
That's it. That house, he built it exactly the way
So you brought the plans in and he built the house you wanted?
I did it. And he gave it to a house designer over in Fort Worth who put all the details in. But I'm just like Sam here. I had everything blocked out and what have you. And so I remember him saying to me, he said, why don't you make this house bigger? I said, that's a good idea, but I think I'm going to have to pay you more money. So he said, I said, well, how much will it be? And when I got through, I said, that's as big as I can make this house. He said, but you know, you're gonna borrow the money. I said, but I have to make a down payment, don't I? Yeah. Well, I don't have any down payment money. So he said, okay, he got the drift. So we established